Auntie Agnes is here, and I've got a couple of tricks up my sleeve. Let's just take it from the top.
The Marvel Cinematic Universe is finally back as WandaVision kicks off a new era of the MCU via a series that will debut on Disney+. The first 2 episodes have already debuted and are already getting fans excited about what might follow. The sitcom-focused elements mixed with mystery and what's going on with Wanda and Vision makes this a compelling series with all sorts of different elements at play, which of course makes the fan theories all the more fun to explore. So allow us to show you 8 WandaVision theories. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Warning, only light spoilers will be given for episodes 1 and 2 of the show. As such, some theories might conflict with what's been shown. Number 8, theory number 1, Agatha Harkness.
So what's a single gal like you doing rattling around this big house?
For non-comic book readers, Agatha Harkness is a talented witch from Wanda's earlier life who she learns a great deal from. A sort of mentor to the young sorceress, Harkness may have gotten a bit of a makeover in WandaVision if certain theories are to be believed. One thing many would like to see is the reveal that Catherine Hahn's nosy neighbor is in fact Harkness in the MCU. Considering the character has been seen in a witch hat in the trailers, it's certainly a possibility that this is a subtle hint to her real identity. Now, obviously, if this is Agatha Harkness, that could alter how things go for Wanda as a whole. She obviously wouldn't be too much of a mentor to her, but it's possible that she knows Doctor Strange, and that could lead to a tie-in to Multiverse of Madness that we know Scarlet Witch is going to be in. Even if this is just a subtle nod to a comic character, it's important because both Wanda and Vision have deep histories and supporting casts that many would like to see fleshed out in one form or another. Number 7. Theory number 2, Mephisto.
Is there a primary Marvel villain yet to be seen in the MCU, hidden in plain sight? The devil is in the details.
Usually the MCU properties are more than happy to go and showcase the villains that are going to be in a movie or TV series, as it helps build up the drama and wonder and mystery as to what's going to happen. However, with WandaVision, we haven't had that because of the odd nature of the show and the overall mystery surrounding, well, everything in the show. However, after the first 2 episodes, many are wondering if there's a very dark and corruptive influence guiding everything, mainly Mephisto. Mephisto is one of the many devils of the Marvel Comics universe, and his powers were enough to rival Galactus in one case. But more than that, he uses his powers to manipulate people and give them what they want, at a cost. Which is how the Ghost Rider was born, and the infamous One More Day arc was done, and so on. It would make sense that Mephisto would target Wanda and give her her dream home in life in return for something. But what? And is it really him pulling the strings? We'll see. Number 6, theory number 3. The children depicted are intentional.
Wanda, have you gotten bigger?
Life moves pretty fast out in the suburbs.
There are many elements of Scarlet Witch's life that are tragic to say the least. Not the least of which is that when it comes to her children, they end up not liking her that much, or dying. This can also be said for Vision, who, yes, has had children as well. In the various trailers for WandaVision, we see that they have kids. 2, in fact. This is poignant because both Vision and Scarlet had 2 kids apiece. Vision had Viv and Vin, while Scarlet had Wiccan and Speed. This is clearly a nod to that, but also could be something that becomes a reality in its own right. Because as we'll detail later, Wanda also had kids in the legendary House of M arc, and when she lost them, it broke her. So perhaps this is a part of what leads to the Multiverse of Madness. It's hard to say, but given the show, anything is possible. Number 5, theory number 4. Wanda will have to confront Vision's death.
It's time.
No.
They can't stop him, Wanda, but we can.
Don't.
You must do it, Wanda, please.
This theory can honestly go both ways in terms of its plausibility. By that we mean that Vision died in the events of Infinity War, which is what fueled Wanda in her return in Endgame to go and kill Thanos. And yet, somehow, Vision is not only alive, but with Wanda. Granted, it's in a sitcom setting, but it's still there, and they're the literal focus of the series. But that begs the question of how Vision came back and what's going to happen with the end of the season or series. Because here's the thing, unlike DC Comics shows on the CW or HBO Max, we don't know if WandaVision is going to be a multi-season show or a one-off. Marvel hasn't commented and said that some shows are one-offs while others are series. So it could be that the end of WandaVision has her confronting the loss of Vision in some form, and that too leads to her going to Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness. After all, while Elizabeth Olsen is confirmed for that movie, Paul Bettany is not. Yet. Number 4. Theory number 5. Wanda is traveling through and breaking the multiverse.
Wanda and Vision, we are in uncharted waters.
We just don't know what to expect.
This one is a little out there, but roll with us on this, okay? In the comics, Wanda's abilities are very much reality warping, hence why she's one of the strongest characters in all of Marvel Comics. Given her pain at the loss of Vision, it's possible that she's intentionally or unintentionally going and traveling across the multiverse in search of a true perfect life with her wannabe husband, which could explain why they're progressing through decades like the 50s, 60s, and so on. It's a shift in the multiverse. But that also raises problems, because if you push the multiverse too much, it'll crack, which could not just lead to Multiverse of Madness, but also affect other movies like the upcoming third movie in the Tom Holland Spider-Man films, which is being heavily teased to be a multiversal adventure like Into the Spider-Verse. That could explain why it was a focus before the upcoming Doctor Strange and Spider-Man films arrived. It needed to set everything up. Number 3. Theory number 6. The Return of Quicksilver.
Returning to Sokovia tells us that this show will rewind the clock to the beginning to answer that question.
There's little doubt that the Marvel Cinematic Universe gets a lot right in terms of how they portray characters and showcase stories. But they have been at times known to stumble, and the most visible of these stumbles is that of Quicksilver. Him and Wanda were the twins in Age of Ultron, and Quicksilver died after getting shot. Sure, it was by a Gatling gun, but Quicksilver is supposed to be nearly light speed, and yet he got shot and killed by a gun? Yeah, no. Fans were not happy with this at all, and as such, many are hoping and praying that WandaVision brings him back in some way, shape, or form, even if it's just until the show ends. It would make perfect sense because a sitcom life is perfect for having family randomly show up and cause all sorts of problems, right? Number 2. Theory number 7. The Importance of S.W.O.R.D.
How about this? I push you in, and as they're shooting at you, I'll retake the bridge. Or you could just be quiet and let me listen.
Okay, now we get into a major spoiler. It appears as though the agency known as S.W.O.R.D, which is a sister organization of S.H.I.E.L.D., is involved in WandaVision in some capacity. In the comics, S.W.O.R.D was the first line of defense against alien threats and was headed up by Abigail Brand, a half-mutant, half-spacer hero who is respected by many and has had quite a few relationships with X-Men, including Beast. We know that S.W.O.R.D is in the show, but their name has changed, and that paints a whole new light on what might be happening and how it could all play out. But given that this show's dynamic can change on a whim, who knows what might happen next? Number 1. Theory number 8. Reverse House of M.
This is our home now. I want us to fit in.
Oh, this is gonna be a gas!
The House of M storyline was the one where Wanda was tricked into rewriting reality in order for her father, at the time, Magneto, to go and rule over the Earth alongside mutant kind. Despite what many would think, it was actually rather peaceful. But after Wolverine and others figured out the truth, they got Wanda to change it back. But losing her children broke her mind and made her hate mutants as a whole. As such, she spoke, "No more mutants," and this led to millions of mutants dying or being depowered, leaving only a few hundred left on the planet. In the current MCU, mutants of any kind haven't been talked about, showcased, or anything. There's always an outside explanation for powers, even with Wanda, as her powers were given to her by the Mind Stone. However, given that the X-Men will arrive in the MCU eventually, many are thinking WandaVision is going to be where the mutants are born. How is unclear, but the potential is there, and it would be quite the spin on the classic arc. So what do you think? What do you think of this look at WandaVision and how things might turn out in one form or another as the series continues? What did you think of the theories that are being proposed in here? Do you think that some of them honestly have the ability to come true? What do you think will happen as the story goes on? Do you think that there are more elements at play here than even the most diehard of fans expect? Let us know in the comments below, be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next time on the channel.